Okay, Jenny, well, I'm so excited to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So tell me a little bit about who you are and where your college is.
Sure. So I'm Jennie McCue. I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications at Saddleback College. We're located in Mission Viejo, California, which is in the southern area of Orange County. So we are the most southern, see, this is already happening. We're the we have the southernmost location of all community colleges in Orange County.
Great. And I'm excited to have you on because you oversaw a project that I think a lot of colleges across the country want to do, and that is you redid your mascot.
That's right.
So what was the mascot originally, and why did the college want to redo it?
So Saddleback College had the Gaucho as our mascot for many years. We were founded in 1968. And I think like most community colleges, our mascot was one of those things that came about, and there's not much documentation as to how it came about. We're a mountainous area, so it makes sense that, we would be the Gauchos. We were also founded at the same time as UC Santa Barbara. So there's some thought that we were the Gauchos like UCSB. But the rendering of the mascot itself, in all honesty, was pretty awful. Not only was it very amateurish in its appearance, but it didn't appropriately depict what a Gaucho looks like. Gauchos have very specific characteristics, and the cartoon of our mascot didn't have those typical characteristics of a Gaucho. And it also was very stereotypically representative of a Mexican person, a big sombrero, a big mustache. And over the years, it was noted to be quite offensive to many groups of people. So it was something that had been discussed for many years. I started working at the college in 2005. And it was discussed as early as then that the mascot image was quite offensive. And there was talk about changing it. Finally, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, the president at the time asked that our athletics department remove the image from the gym and other locations on campus. And that was sort of the start of a big change. Am I talking too long?
No, this is great.
Obviously edit that out. So that was the start of the big change. Then we had a vote by survey in 2018. And the college still wasn't quite ready to do away with the mascot. There were many college-wide meetings. There were discussions on how to decide if we were going to stay the Gauchos or not. And we did a simple survey. It was a 2-question survey. Should we stay the Gaucho or not? And groups on campus that wanted to keep the Gauchos really rallied the troops to vote in favor of remaining the Gauchos. That happened in 2018. Soon after that, we had a new college president, and he's great. And he's very understanding of different points of view, and understanding that progression is important, and that all voices need to be heard, and that this was an issue for the college because we obviously want to be inclusive, and we respect diversity, and we want to be welcoming to all people on campus. And it's hard to live that when you have you have a mascot that's offensive to so many people.
And before you keep going, I just want to clarify, because you kind of alluded to what a Gaucho is, but for some people who aren't in Southern California, it's a term they may not have ever heard.
Well, true. And Gauchos don't even exist in Southern California.
Right.
So it was one of those things that even though we're a mountainous area, why are we Gauchos? So Gauchos come from South America. They're known as Argentinian cowboys. And what's interesting is that if you do some research, you find some really nice definitions of what a Gaucho is. They're very legendary in South America. They're seen as strong, emblematic of somebody, of a pioneering type of person. And in some ways, that's great with, that can be synonymous with a college. It's something you'd want. However, after our new president started, well, he's not even new anymore. I say he's new. He started in early 2019. So at the time he was new. There was more talk about our mascot. And yeah, we just had the survey, but was that really representative of how the college feels? And did it take into account very strong feelings people have about that mascot? So we decided, and my coworker and I were charged with working on a new mascot image. So we assembled a work group. It was well represented college-wide, and we had students on the committee as well. And we had some new mascot renderings drawn for us of what a gaucho looks like. You know, they have a flat hat, you know, they wear certain clothes. So that's what it looked like. And we were going to start a process where we voted on what we wanted our new gaucho mascot to look like. And this is
really interesting though. So you started by saying like, let's keep what we have, but modernize it, take away some of those stereotypical
exactly
pieces, right?
Exactly. That was sort of the early evolution of our final change.
Right.
You know, it was obviously kind of a baby step. So what happened, so this was in 2020 that we started this process. At the same time that we started getting those drawings, and before we voted on it campus-wide, a petition was circling among faculty and students and staff, and they got many signatures, and the petition called for us to retire the gaucho. So obviously this issue could not be ignored. You know, we had the survey, we were talking about it, but that survey obviously wasn't a decisive answer. This issue was never going to go away. So the petition circulated, and our college president determined, and this was in fall semester 2020, that we would have forums where everyone was invited to come forward and talk about their feelings of the gaucho. And it became very clear during these discussions that there was no way we'd be able to keep this mascot. There were very passionate arguments against it. And as I mentioned before, the gaucho is seen as this legendary figure in South America, but what's missing from a lot of the storytelling and folklore about that mascot is that there was colonization involved. You know, they're accused of raping and pillaging. I mean, just these horrible stories of, you know, colonizing people and subjugating them to terrible treatment. It became clear we can't keep this mascot. I mean, there's just no way this is going to happen, even though there were still a lot of people who were in favor of keeping it. It wasn't going to be. So at the end of those forums, and as I said, that was in fall semester 2020, our college president announced we have to change it. So that decision was made. You know, we brought it forward to our chancellor and our board of trustees. And, you know, it wasn't simple. It wasn't a simple decision. We obviously had a lot of people that fought fiercely against it, but it was determined Saddleback College will no longer be the gaucho. So you want me to stop here for a question?
First of all, I love the fact that you did a survey that just had 2 questions. So it's like you started at the very, like, let's just start with the very basic and not get carried away with what should it be and what do we represent? It's like, should we have this? Yes or no?
Right.
And how was the response? Was it clear from the survey, or did it really take the forums to get to the heart of it?
It took the forums to get to the heart of it, because the survey meant that we were keeping that gaucho, but it didn't stop the discontent. It didn't stop it. I mean, people were still really upset. They felt that survey, you know, didn't really get to the heart of the matter. You're asking a yes or no question without an ability for people to really understand the issue, you know, and so many people, you know, so many students weren't given an opportunity to hear arguments in favor of and against the gaucho. So, I mean, it was a vote without having a lot of opportunity to inform people on what it meant.
I think that's a really good lesson, though, on why you should do both types of research.
Absolutely.
You need to do a survey, let people have a chance to say yes or no, but you have to talk to people too. You have to get out and ask questions and listen.
Well, and that was one of the wonderful things about the forums that our president held, is that a lot of people, you know, in college campuses, I'm sure Saddleback is no different from a lot of college campuses, where you have people on campus who are, you know, in all the committees and do all the work. What happened with our forums on whether to keep the Gaucho or not, a lot of people came forward who I'd never even seen in a meeting, you know, really great part-time faculty who made impassioned statements about how offensive the Gaucho was to them, from students who said, you know, I feel awful coming to campus and seeing that image, or knowing that that's what we are. That's not who I am. And it's not reflective of what this college means to me, but it makes me think a little bit differently about the college and what the college may think of me as a student. So it really brought a lot of voices forward who we hadn't heard from before. And that was so important.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And it's also so interesting on how tied people get to the college mascot or the college logo. It has so much more meaning than at least I personally would think that it would have.
Absolutely. I mean, it is reflective of our brand. How can we say, you know, we have a new tagline, welcome to opportunity. You know, how can we promote that and at the same time have a mascot that is horribly offensive to so many of our students? It doesn't work. You can't promote something and have it be true if at the same time you have this embarrassing mascot.
Yeah, you have to take a holistic view of your entire brand.
Absolutely.
So how long did that process take? How long did this go on for?
So everything I'm talking about happened over the course. So we did the 2-question survey in 2018. In 2019, we started looking at different designs for the Gaucho. In 2020, we had finalized it, and then we were told stop because we have this petition that circulated. And then in fall 2020, we had the forums where we ultimately decided Saddleback College can no longer have the Gauchos as our mascot. So then in early spring semester 2021, our college president asked me and my colleague, who had been overseeing the work group to get new Gaucho designs, he asked us to shift focus and assemble our work group to identify a new mascot for the college. So that started in early spring 2020.
Okay, and who was on that work group?
So that was myself and my colleague who runs our tutoring center, and she's now an interim dean. She and I were co-chairs, and then the group was well represented with faculty, representatives from athletics, students, and classified staff as well.
Okay, so now you're tasked, get rid of the Gaucho, find us something new.
Right.
And how did you even begin to do that?
So at the end of the day, it just all kind of came together quite easily. My colleague and I, who were co-chairs, got together and just kind of made a rough outline and brought it forward to our work group, and it all fell into place. So what the work group determined to do was we would solicit nominations for our new mascot over the course of a month. So that was the first thing we did. The work group got together and said, yes, we want to ask everybody in our community to nominate ideas for what Saddleback College's new mascot should be. So that happened in January and February of 2021. We got hundreds of nominations, and then the work group together went through them and chose about 25 that we thought would be acceptable.
So you just let people just give us ideas.
Exactly. And we got everything. We got tons of ideas. We got some silly ones. We got some funny ones. We got some great ones. We got some that we thought we never would have thought of that before. But really good ones. So yeah, I mean, hundreds. We narrowed it down to about 25, the work group did. And then we held more college-wide forums where we presented the 25 semifinalists, and we allowed each forum to talk about what they liked, what they didn't like. What was great about that was there were some really good concerns that were raised that we hadn't thought of. For instance, one of the mascot suggestions, I don't even remember what it was, maybe it was the crow. Saddleback College has a lot of crows on campus. So there were a lot of submissions for us to be the crows. And a Persian student told us that the crow is actually seen as bad luck in the Persian community. So that was good to know. Never knew that. We wouldn't want something that would be considered bad luck to our Persian community. We do have quite a lot of Persian students. And nevertheless, you just don't want something like that anyway. It also
nobody likes crows, right?
I know. Well, we get tons.
Yeah, I think they fly from your campus over my house, but it's actually pretty fascinating. Every night there's like a million crows that go through our backyard.
It's kind of a thing. So anyway, we are not the crows, I will tell you that much. We did not end up being the crows. But what was kind of nice is we had a lot of people on campus because we're about 7 miles inland from the ocean. However, we are not considered a coastal campus. You know, we're not on Laguna Beach. We're a good 15-minute drive to Laguna Beach, but because we have this mountainous terrain, Saddleback is in much more of a chaparral area than coast. However, people like to think of us as coastal. So we got a lot of submissions that were like the surfers and the sandpipers. And, you know, I never thought they would work because we're not a coastal campus. But thankfully, students in our group said, you know, I think these ocean mascots aren't going to work for us because we're not considered a coastal campus, even though people might want us to be, we're really not. But then we'd also have to think, are we changing our colors? Because our colors are cardinal and gold. Are we going to change our colors? No, that was never in the plan. So that kind of helped weed out a lot of people who were really rooting for sort of an oceanic mascot. But anyway, so we had these forums where we presented the 25 semifinalists. At the end of each forum, and again, everybody was invited to speak and offer their opinions and you know, what they liked and didn't like about each submission. And then they could vote on their top 5 favorite. So we did 4 forums. And at the end of that, we had our research department help us find our top 5 finalists. And then we did a college-wide vote. We did a survey, which do you like the best? And they could choose among 5. And ultimately we had a winner in May of 2021. So all of this took place from the gathering of mascot nominations to having the forums to selecting the finalists and having a college-wide vote to select the winner. That took place over about a 4 or 5 month period.
Okay. And you weren't showing drawn concepts. These were just words at this point.
Exactly. They were just words. So
and some of your forums were very interesting. I know one of your forums went viral.
It did. So this was going back to the forums where we were just talking about whether we'd remain Gaucho or not. We had a student forum, and unbeknownst to us, our sneaky students invited a social media instigator who is well known to the student community, hadn't been known to me. And I didn't attend that forum, but I had heard that there was somebody who brought a ridiculous idea forward and he just kind of left after. And I thought, okay, that's interesting. Well, then I saw on Twitter that night what had happened. So this person that came into the meeting and made this crazy suggestion is actually a social media instigator with quite a following. And he recorded himself with a suggestion for what our new mascot should be. It's not safe for work, so I'm not going to say it here, but anybody can search on Twitter for Saddleback College and you'll probably find it. I think the last I looked, which was many months ago, it had gotten well over 2 million views. So, I mean, well over that. So, but he had a suggestion for what our new mascot should be, and he pinned it on Twitter, and yes.
How was that handled when that happened?
So our faculty, so when we did those specific forums on whether we should keep the Gaucho mascot, we had 2 faculty members who helped facilitate that. And it really bothered them. They really felt like this person, you know, captured, you know, because this was all on Zoom, because this is during the pandemic. The social media instigator had, you know, recorded it and posted it on Twitter. and had captured images of our students, and they just felt that students were being made fun of. And so I met with them. Our college president asked me to join them. And, my advice as I think communications person would be ignore it. We're not going to give him any oxygen by showing that we know about it or saw it, why. And it's just one of those things that we deal with today. It happens and it's silly. It didn't make us look bad in any way. It was no threat to our reputation as a college. It was just a social media instigator who came and did something that he thought was funny and people got to laugh about it. We'll move on. But he did make a reappearance when we were discussing our finalists for the new mascot. He came back and he said, why didn't anybody accept my idea for the mascot that I had nominated? And it was funny, and it ended up being handled perfectly because my colleague who I was leading the meetings with somehow didn't get the message that this had all happened. So she answered him very honestly. She said, we went through a process and we have ideas that went forward and the work group selected them. I'm sorry your idea wasn't, but this is how it worked. And then my coworker, who is the manager of our president's office, he knew who he was and he deleted him or he banned him from the meeting then. So yeah, he came back.
Now, what a perfect response though. And because she didn't know the history, she wasn't like triggered or upset. She just handled it very professionally.
No, and I'm seeing in that video, I'm kind of shaking my head because I'm thinking, okay, the person who has the ability to oust him, now's the time to do it. Like, I just wasn't answering, but she had this great response.
I remember seeing you in the video. You have a hysterical look on your face.
I know. My daughter saw it too. And she actually commented, that's my mom.
I think though, there's so many great lessons that you've already shared in this process, but just another little takeaway is we are in a world of Zoom and Zoom bombers and social media instigators, and you just never know what you're going to get.
No, you don't. It keeps it interesting. But, I think overall we had a really great process where everyone was invited to participate. Everyone was invited to submit ideas. I think it was very transparent how we made the decisions. And I think at the end of the day, we're the Bobcats now. I think people are happy with it. It's relevant. We have Bobcats in our area. It works well. We have a beautiful new design and branding package. Not everybody loves it. I will admit our athletics department, I think, would have rather stayed the Gauchos. So not everybody has been, as accepting of it. Maybe accepting isn't the right word. It's been accepted for some more enthusiastically than others, and that's okay. That's okay. I think because we had such a fair process and we're very transparent, nobody can say that it was unfair.
So when you did that survey, sent out the 5, did you decide beforehand that whatever one wins, we're going to live with? Was that the decision?
Yes, because we had narrowed it down to 5 that were acceptable.
Okay.
Because
that's
okay
always kind of like the scary part of doing a survey like that. If there's something in there that you don't love, it's the one that's going to get picked,
Exactly. No, we wanted to make sure of that. So when when our work group selected 25 semifinalists, they all had to be appropriate, something we could live with, not ridiculous, nothing that's going to invite ridicule for the college. And then when we had the forums and they were winnowed down to 5, it was something that everybody could live with.
And then once you made the decision, how did you announce it?
So that was kind of fun. So we made the decision. It was announced, what we did? So our video production staff did like a little shell game. Actually, I'm sorry, I said we had 5 finalists. We actually ended up with 3 finalists, and they did a video of a little shell game. So it was just like Bobcats, Mountain Lions, Rattlers, and they kind of did this. And then at the end, I'm doing this, but nobody can see it in the podcast. But it was a shell game effect. And then it revealed Bobcats was the winner with a yay in the recording. So we sent that out. We said, we have a new mascot, click here to view the video. And it was super cute, nothing fancy, but people really enjoyed it. I got a lot of, reply emails saying this is great, loved it, cute video. Then over the summer, we hired a designer and came up with 2 great Bobcat designs. And at the beginning of the fall semester 2021, we held a vote to determine what the design would be. And then that was revealed at our stadium grand opening. We have a brand new stadium at the college, and we had our grand opening celebration October 1st. And so we revealed the mascot design there.
Oh, how amazing. How great.
Yeah, it was fun.
A lot of colleges hire companies. There are companies who specialize in this.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think about doing that, or was there a reason that you wanted to do it on your own?
No, we hired a company to do it.
Oh, so you did. Okay.
We did. And so to those marketing directors out there who are thinking of going through this process, there are design firms that are looking at newspaper articles about this, because you will likely get some media attention when you change your mascot, just as Saddleback College did. And design firms look out for that and they reach out to you. So that's how we found ours. We used Torch Creative. They were great to work with. But they did reach out to us after seeing something in a newspaper about us changing our mascot. So, but we did choose to work with an outside vendor, only because, there's so many feelings behind this, and our designers are already so busy, and it just seemed, it would be good to have somebody who's not attached to the college in the same way. And, sometimes people in this setting, for better or worse, trust the opinion and talent of an outsider as opposed to an insider, whether it's true or not. We have a very talented design team. In this case, for a lot of reasons, it made sense to hire an external designer.
Yeah, well, I think that this is one of those projects where it does really seem to make sense, because you take the politics and the emotion out of it.
Yes.
And you have somebody who could just be objective, and they just want to give you the best work that they can do. They don't have any real skin in the game.
No, absolutely not. And, exactly. And they've done it before. We really wanted somebody with a lot of experience doing this kind of work, who also knows what's out there.
Right.
We wanted something unique to us. We're now in a process of trademarking the designs. So we didn't want to be in a situation where we create something that potentially looks like something else. Like, these people know what they're doing. This is their market. They are professionals. So it was, and they also know, potential pitfalls and what's going to stand the test of time.
How interesting. I hadn't even thought of that. I mean, you would want to make sure that you weren't super close to another university or college's design.
Exactly.
What are you going to look up every college and university?
Yeah, there's no way. And yeah, we didn't choose something super unique. We're the Bobcats. There's Montana State is the Bobcats. There's a lot of Bobcats in the world that are mascots. There's no possible way we can look at all of them. So yeah, we know that what we ended up with is great and unique to us.
And then how much, like, logistically, once you made this change, did you have a lot, like, uniforms or the floor of the gym, anything that needed to be changed?
Things need to be changed, but we decided we'd do it as needed. We just can't spend that kind of money to, instantly change, the Gauchos banner on the baseball stadium. We're redoing our gym floor now. So thankfully, a lot of things, the timing of it happened after the announcement and of the new mascot and the new design. But in a perfect world, we could have waited to have everything done after the announcement, but some things are going to stay Gauchos for a little while.
Yeah, and that, I think, people know the process you went through, and that the change is coming. I'm sure that they're probably accepting of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What an amazing story.
Well, thank you. It was fun.
Any other tips or advice you would give to other colleges thinking of doing this themselves?
I don't think it's anything earth-shattering. Have a website that, keeps everybody informed, where people can go back to. That's where you put, it was our information hub. That's where we put all of our press releases, where we posted the semifinalists and the finalists. It's where we posted a link to the survey. So that was just really helpful because it kept, us organized and allowed a place for everybody to get information as they needed it. So that was very helpful. Have a process. I mean, I have a colleague to work on it with because, it's a lot. And again, there's some very passionate ideas behind it. And it's nice to have a coworker to go through it all with and laugh about it with. So I was very lucky that I had a really good colleague to co-chair the committee with. And then finally, just, again, just be very transparent. I think this is one of those situations where people want to be kept informed about how the sausage is made. So I think we ultimately did a really good job of that. And at the end of the day, nobody could say that this wasn't a fair process.
And is your website, is it still up if people want to go look at it?
It is. It's a very original name. I think it's saddleback.edu/mascot.
She's checking it right now to see if it is still live.
I'm making sure it's still there. Yes, it is. It's still there. We're actually, I'm sure many other marketing directors can relate. We are going through the pain of redesigning our website right now. So this won't be here forever. But yes, for now we have saddleback.edu/mascot, and includes our announcement, our selection criteria, and more. I hope it's helpful. If
anybody is interested in seeing your Bobcat, is that on your website?
It is. It's on the landing page of the website. Yep.
Awesome. Well, sounds like I'm going to go visit it when we get off this call.
Very good.
I've heard this story, but I haven't ever seen the final drawing.
You will be dazzled.
Well, I think a lot of your takeaways were so similar to things I learned when I was at Maricosta and we redid the college logo. And the mascot itself, after going through we changed the college logo and we changed the college colors. And that project was very controversial and emotionally driven and difficult. And we used a firm to help us. And now my creative director here at Graduate Communications is the creative director that redid the logo for the other firm.
Oh,
because he did such an amazing job. But I learned through that process just how emotionally charged these discussions are. And when we got to the end, we changed everything. And the college said, what about the mascot?
No.
And I said, why don't we do that for our 100th anniversary? I won't be working here anymore.
Right. Yeah, I don't blame you. It's funny how these projects bring such emotion in people. A logo is one of them. I just mentioned our website. It's the same. People have very strong feelings about these things that can be kind of surprising. So it's a good thing to expect.
Yeah. And I think my takeaway from the project that I did was, you think of your whole brand. We say a logo's not a brand, a mascot's not a brand, and it's not. But for some people, those marks represent their experience. And so they do hold a lot of value for people. Yes. So for me, I was like, oh, it's just a logo. We just need something more attractive to put on our brochures and our website. And it was so much more than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And it came down to the end of the day, for my experience, just like yours, we revamped the process, slowed it down, got more input, did more focus groups, made presentations, and that the ability for people to speak and participate became what ended up making it a success.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, same with us. It's just having that ability to participate is so important to people. They need to be heard.
Well, good work.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And anybody interested in seeing the mascot or the process, go to saddleback.edu/mascot. But before the end of the year, when Jenny redoes her entire website.
Right.
And thank you so much. I hope you turn this into a presentation at a conference, because I think a lot of people
I plan to. Thank you so much.